We live. I'm getting that. What did you say? The best way to describe it?
Not the best way to describe it. While I was in there, it was like the painting, the Dante's Inferno. It was like that's how it made you feel like internally. Like you
How?
like,
Explain that. Explain
it
that.
was just a disgusting, gross, like dirt everywhere. There were people you can hear like you're like shoulder to shoulder with everybody. You're like crammed into like what's called a bull pit. And then there's people lying on the floor.
Bullpen, like animal. Literally, you're like a corralling animal.
That's how it felt, because it's like glasses. And some people, if you treat them some way, they're going to act out that way.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just end up fighting here and there. But it's like, you're stuck in this little cage. There's not even enough room for people to sit next to you. A lot of people lay down on the floor. Some of them are withdrawing, so they're shaking, they're throwing up.
Oh, God.
But then why they're throwing up? Because they can't, they're going through withdrawals. Other people are like, what the fuck? And they're yelling at them, and they're like...
Oh, yeah, like that's going to help.
Yeah, and they're like trying... Oh, I'm sorry, the person's trying to rush to the toilet.
Jesus.
The toilet's disgusting. There's no water. The only water is on top of the toilet, like a little faucet thing. So
Wow.
you're drinking from the same place that people shit out, pretty much.
Oh, man.
Puke all over. So people always say stay away from water for that reason. They say things like, you can tell when somebody drinks that water because their breath smells like shit. Anyways. People say stay away, like, that's what they'll say. It's that bad. So I was thirsty most of the time. I just couldn't drink from there. And whenever there's a meal, they give you a tiny little cup of juice, maybe, per meal. That's all you have to the next meal. Like, there's no beverages, the food's disgusting.
There's no water? They don't have to give you water?
No. Nothing. It's that bad. And the juice is like syrup. It's disgusting. The food is unedible. It's just gross, man. The highlight for them was the best meal was 2 slices of bread and 2 little pieces of bologna. That's it.
Jesus fucking
That was the
Christ,
highlight,
man.
So,
Over what is it? How do you get that? Is that like a commissary meal?
every once in a while. I went to the because I was there only for a few days. I didn't get it like I was still doing the processing part. Was this 2-3 days?
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't get to go to my own little,
Where were you? What is this place called?
This was Essex County. I forgot what the name is, but it's in Newark. It's the county jail, right there in Newark, by the airports and stuff. Processing was a bitch. It was like hours and hours of waiting, stuck, like I said, shoulder to shoulder with everybody. People bored, so you can tell when people have been there a few times. So you see a lot of flexing, a lot of people like testing each other out.
Yeah.
So it's always, you can get those people that like, these big, giant, buff dudes just trying to fuck with people.
Mm.
And then I can, I try to like observe and just like stay to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see other people like hide, like you can tell they're scared. I just didn't show it because I know if you show that, you're fucked. The processing, the COs treat everybody like shit. They always...
Like how? How they talking to people?
Well, some of them tried the whole military thing, but a lot of them were... It doesn't matter what your request was. Let's say, hey, I need to... I'm thirsty. What's the next meal? What's this and that? They'll just talk down to you. And they'll be aggressive. And like I said, it's just a filthy environment. So everything, you have bodies all around. It stinks like a motherfucker.
Oh,
There's
God.
a lot of garbage on the floor. So you have no place. All you had was a concrete slab floor, and then 2 benches that are long. That's just concrete.
Concrete fucking floor?
Yeah, concrete slab floor, and then the benches are concrete.
Jesus Christ.
So you're trying to sleep. You have nothing to do but just sit there or sleep the whole time. So what else can you do but hear people talking about
And what is this area? This is still a bullpen?
bullpen? Yeah. It's
What
still
area are you talking about right now?
Yeah, it's doing the processing. So they'll move you from bullpen to bullpen to try to go through the stages of getting your overalls and then getting your food, or you're not food, but like
Did you get the
take a
clothes?
shower. Yeah, I had the
You had to do all of
had the
that?
orange jumper and all that. The underwear is like some white big boxers. All
Is
the
it like
jumpers
one
are all the
size
same
fits
size.
all?
Yeah. So I had a large, big ass fucking jumper on me. I'm like 5 foot nothing. But yeah, it was just the smell, man. The smell, and not only that, but drugs all around. You would think in jail there was not, but I would see people grabbing in their like pants, and they have drugs like tucked away in their nut sacks and stuff.
How do you
So just
fucking
pull
do
it out.
that?
And they have pills. They have I don't know what it is, but it's like this weed thing. That when I was trying to go to sleep, there's always bright lights, by the way, so you can't sleep at all. It's like bright lights. You never
Red
sleep.
lights?
Bright, like very bright fluorescent lights above.
Oh.
So it was like almost impossible. I would have to take like a towel, try to put it over my eyes,
Jesus
so I get some
Christ.
darkness. But while I was trying to sleep, well, first of all, it was hard to sleep because I didn't know who was going to try to sneak up on me while I was sleeping. Because we're all stuck in the air with a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
You don't know their past or what they're into.
Yeah.
So you always hear like these noises of people trying to smoke. So it sounds like people like hitting like this is like a crack pipe or something.
Where the fuck are they getting lighters from?
They sneak it in somehow. They sneak in like maybe like a match or something. They probably the same way they sneak in drugs, you know. Like they say, what's it called? Boof. They boof it.
Oh, I heard that.
They ever put it in their asshole. They tuck in between the balls. But they get it in. Like I overheard people say they prepare in case they do get locked up.
They do what?
Prepare. Like they already know. They have a little package, a care package tucked in on them.
Wow.
Just in case they ever get locked up.
All right. So you talked about the conditions, and this is the bullpen you said.
The bullpen, yeah.
Well, all right. So give me the rundown of like from when you get in there to how do they process you, and to then where are you going? Like, tell me how it works.
What are sections? First, there's the transport. You're stuck in a van. And it's not like a regular van where you have like benches. You're like confined to like a tight ass space in between. There's like
Everything is just confined.
it's very tight, very caged in. It really literally is a caged in place where you feel if you're claustrophobic, you're fucked.
Oh,
but I think that's part of the the psychology shit to fuck with your head. It's that feeling of you're no longer in control. You gotta go by what we say. You go where we go. If you're uncomfortable, too bad. That's probably why they give us shitty
If you're
food.
uncomfortable, that's better.
Yeah.
They probably want people on edge.
Yeah.
They're like this divide and conquer thing. They like people splintered and atomized and away from each other.
Yeah. But I think that's set up that way on purpose. It's set up to fuck with people's heads where they lose their shit. So that they become repeat offenders, repeat customers.
And if they act violently, then the COs have the free reign to commit violence to them.
Yeah, it's a perpetual cycle of just
misery and violence.
Yeah, like I said, it's Dante's Inferno.
Damn.
The smell is disgusting. Like I said, the smell gets to you being treated like I'm not used to talking to somebody than being talked down to.
Yeah.
You know, like on a level where it's like dehumanizing. Like they're like they make you feel like you're not a person, like you're an animal, pretty much.
You're literally a slave to the state under the 13th Amendment.
Yep. And somehow to get
You're
away
a
with
little
it.
slave.
I've talked to people that like other inmates that worked in, let's say the food, like cooking the food and stuff, and they'll tell me all the food is old, all the food is expired.
Wait, you know people who work there?
Well, no, I talked to them.
You talk to people who work there?
Yeah, well, I was there. Well, not work there. There are inmates work. It's all like free labor, like you said, 13th Amendment. So it's all the inmates. They'll make clean up. They'll make cook.
They let the
wash
inmates
laundry.
cook?
Yeah, well, it's not really cooking. It's just like throwing water into like all the food is fake. Or let's say the chicken patties and all that. All it is like some kind of dry food. You pour water into it, then it forms.
Bro, that's like I don't know if you saw
like patties.
Force Awakens. You saw Force Awakens?
No.
In Force Awakens, like she's the main character is on this planet, and she's like an orphan, and she lives in like these slave conditions. And the food that she gets is like they get some like powder or something, but it's like space age technology.
Yeah.
And like they get it out, and then like you add water, and like forms like it's a solid mass.
Yeah. He told me that's how to make the peas too. Like peas are formed just from powder and milk. I mean powder and like water. Mix it up and
weird.
Like even the vegetables are like generic.
They don't have like,
artificial.
So they don't have real food for the people. Like there's no like fresh vegetable.
Oh hell no. Shit, I wish. There's nothing with flavor, nothing worth eating.
Jesus.
Nothing to look
Christ,
forward to.
Man. Nothing to look forward to.
No. Nothing.
Damn.
The only thing that I look forward
It
to.
just seems like it's an assault on your mind and body at every level. From the confinement to the food to how they talk to you. It's all a part of this package of like just treating you as worse as possible.
I don't know how people do it where they're there for a long period of time. Luckily, I was only there for a few days. So
How
I
long
can't
were you there
imagine.
for?
I guess like 2.5 days.
2.5 days.
During the processing thing, and then because what I got caught for was a warrant, and what it was for was something minor.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to see the judge. Got let out right after that. But like other people are there for, let's say, domestic violence or armed robbery, or it could mean anything random. A lot of people were there for caught with possession, weed, drugs.
Weed?
Yeah, a lot of it's possession. So a lot of people that got caught were for drugs. So if you were to, let's say, legalize weed, whatever, that'll cut down.
Who would be in there? Wouldn't be nobody in there.
Who would be there most?
It would. I'm just saying it'll be.
Oh yeah.
people.
It'll be mostly empty. Yeah.
It'll be fucking empty.
Yeah. And then
They won't be making money.
I also noticed, like, I'm pretty sure I was the only person from Montclair. But most of them were from Newark and Irvington. East Orange, too. East Orange, I only said, like, maybe 5 white dudes. The most.
Wow.
5 or 7. It was mostly black, and then a decent amount, a smaller chunk, Hispanic. But it was mostly all black, and then some Hispanics, and like very little white, like a handful. So it was like you can. It was
That's
definitely,
how it is with our oppressed community. People don't have food. People don't have health care, right? People don't have their parents who people's parents might be dead or on drugs or in the prison system, went to the prison system. Were destroyed by that. Families destroyed by that system. When Joe Biden made that crime bill and they put all that extra police out on the street and they made those weird sentencing rules and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
These have real effects, These have real effects on these communities. And it's just an assault. This whole war on drugs thing. It's just an excuse to have war on poor people and people who look like me and you. Because who else is in there? You said 5 white people.
There was like a handful of white people, not many.
It's war on our people, bro. It continues slavery.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this work. Because we want this to stop. This has to stop, bro.
Something's gotta give.
This has to fucking stop, bro.
It's gonna boil over.
It's just treating people inhumane. People have human rights. Treat people
I
like
don't
that.
get, like I said, from my experience there, in that little bit of time, I don't get how the government can treat people like that, like inmates. Like so cruel, like disgusting conditions, food is gross, unedible, no drinking water. Like I had to look forward to the next meal just to have something to drink. Within hours,
syrup,
many
right?
hours. Yeah, it's like very, very syrupy juice here and there. There was a breakfast where I couldn't.
It should be illegal.
Yeah, there was a time where I couldn't even. In the morning, I woke up thirsty as hell. They had some cereal. Let's say what's a brand flakes,
Using
whatever.
air quotes cereal.
Yeah. Because it's like generic shit. And then there was like a little thing of milk, a little tiny carton of milk. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm really thirsty. I want to eat, but also I'm thirsty as hell. So I just drank the milk. And I couldn't eat like dry cereal, so I just gave that to one of the inmates.
You don't eat dry? I love dry
I
cereal.
don't like dry cereal.
I eat dry cereal.
I should crack this shit on my
I
throat.
don't fucking eat dry cereal. I'll sit here with a box.
If it was a delicious cereal, but that's like some.
It's probably some really nasty.
That's some grandma.
Bran flakes.
Shit,
You say
yeah.
grandma? Because I would eat a box of Frosted Flakes.
No,
straight
that's
up.
fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever you had was probably some like
Gross.
subhuman like.
Pretty sure it was expired too.
Jesus, that should, bro. All of that should be illegal. How is that not illegal? They should have some sort of people going there who are testing these conditions. You'd be like, this is subpar. You can't do this. You have to feed them real food.
The crazy
You have
thing.
to have them give them nutritious food, actual food with vegetables,
Like
If
real
you're gonna
fucking
keep people
ingredients,
there.
yeah.
water.
Water's a big thing. I don't get like these. We have this grown ass men there, and you get a little tiny cup.
Bro, that's insanity.
A meal. That's it. Nothing in between. Like I drink a lot of water, so it's like I get no water.
How will they? This is a human. It's a clear violation of human rights. Yeah. It's a violation of human rights. And that's what it is.
There's
nothing
no
more, nothing less.
There's no way that politicians don't know about the conditions. I'm pretty sure they know about it.
And with the prison, you heard about the prison labor thing recently with the in New York City?
No, it's not.
Apparently, prisoners in New York State are being made to make hand sanitizer. And then they're not allowed to use the hand sanitizer.
For the coronavirus thing?
Yeah.
What?
And they're selling it to people.
Mm. No, I heard something about that. Like, remember when you're locked in there, you're confined to a space, and once a virus like that goes around, you think they're gonna give you the proper medical
care, right?
Yeah. So people are fucked. They're in a like what do they call it, petri dish.
A petri dish.
That's
wow.
what it becomes. People are just like getting each other sick. Nowhere to go. No real There's no medical staff like that. You're not gonna get.
Tell me about that. Is there a medical staff? How does it work?
From what I heard, all they gave you was like Tylenol for everything that you have a toothache.
They only had fucking Tylenol.
They'll give you Tylenol if you have a small toothache, you need root canal, whatever. They just rip out your tooth. So people are like, they just stay away from going to the dentist because all they're gonna do is either take out a tooth or give you Tylenol.
Jesus fucking Christ! What if you have a medical condition?
I don't know, man.
Like you have diabetes.
I don't know how they handle that.
Do you just fucking die?
Like, they don't even let you have. I don't know how it is once you get processed, but you don't even have a pencil paper. You don't have any. You don't have books to read. You only have like your own mind to get lost in while you're stuck in there for hours with like a bunch of people. But they don't. Everything else they consider contraband. So you're not allowed to have anything on you.
What's the contraband? What's contraband?
Contraband is just anything that they feel is not. It's just like personal property, anything that's not issued to you by the prison system. Yeah.
Oh.
It's not approved to issue to you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the uniform you have on, the little orange jumpsuit, that's okay. Now, if you have, let's say a phone or anything like that, that's considered contraband or anything.
What do they do with the phone?
They put it in a bag and then they pack it away for you. And then once you get out, they give it back. So your phone, like I have my hoodie, all my pens and stuff. They made me take all that off, put it in a bag, everything. They actually lost my Imperial Triumphant pen, which I'm pissed off about. But a lot of shit, they pack away everything, and you're not allowed to have anything that's your property. No wallet, no nothing. They'll let you have your glasses. That's about it.
Your glasses?
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
That's about it, though. Because everything else, like
it's fucking medieval, bro.
They make you take off your laces on your sneakers.
Oh yeah, you can't hang yourself or something. Or other people.
I'll understand if you're suicidal, but
huh?
I understand if they say you're suicidal or something, then they'll make you take. But no, but they're afraid of that. Like maybe somebody will take your laces from you and then attack somebody else or attack.
Yeah, try to strangle somebody.
So you have these flip flops they give you, these little plastic sandals.
Like those Crocs.
Yeah.
Ugly ass Crocs.
Exactly.
God damn those.
It's a tan color.
Everything is an assault on the mind and the body.
Like I said, it's set up in a way where you feel defeated, or you feel like this is your life now. And once you're in there, going through that hell, you feel like, okay, let me in the future prepare myself in case I have to go back in. And it always makes you feel like you're gonna go back in.
What you mean?
So now let's say now I'm thinking in my head like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to write down phone numbers. On a little piece of paper and keep it in my pocket in case that happens again. Because you're not allowed to have a phone, and now you're thinking about shit that you shouldn't be thinking about that other people don't have to privilege to think. Like people are privileged enough not to even have that in their mind. Small little things like that, like okay, should I have a hoodie on? Other people have a hoodie on. They're just jogger white people, like nothing.
What do you mean? What do you mean what do you mean about the hoodie?
The hoodie, because that's why one of the reasons I got stopped because I had a hoodie on, and I fit the description. You know.
Yeah, you fit the description. That's the thing. That's how they picked you up.
Yeah.
And you got picked up because you had some past thing or whatever.
No, yeah, it was like a warrant. I owe money, so it's like
Oh, you owed money.
It was a child support thing. So like, remember the year that I got hit by accident? I got hit by a car last year. So I had the whole year that I couldn't pay, but my ex-wife knew about it.
Wow.
So that year, like my ex-wife, of course, she knew that once my settlement came in, that's gonna be paid in full. But because I didn't tell like a child support themselves, they just figured I wasn't doing anything the whole year. They didn't know that was an accident and I was waiting for a settlement.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. So I didn't know I had a warrant on me. So I'm here, like the guy pulled me out. I'm like, what's the problem? Oh, you fit the description. Somebody was looking for us.
Wow.
What's the CVS? I'm like, here, it's not. Like, I don't have my ID on me, but this is my social security number. This is like, I'm like thinking, fuck off already. Like, I didn't do nothing wrong. And then that popped up. And I have to go through that hell over that.
That's such bullshit.
Because that person apparently had a hood on.
See, this is the war on the poor. This is the war on the poor. And the war is a war on colonized people who are the poor. But there's no reason you should have been in jail.
Because I know you see a lot of people in hoodies on. They're just like,
because you couldn't work,
jogging, they're doing their thing, no problem.
I feel like the real problem. This all stems from the child support people not communicating with you or whatever. Because if they'd be like, they should have been like, this person suffered a physical accident.
If they would have,
and he couldn't work or whatever for a while, so we should postpone his payment. And then this would have never happened. So it's their fucking fault that you are in this predicament. That's crazy, bro.
No, it wasn't even anything serious. No, I wasn't robbing no.
Whatever.
It was nothing. Other than that, just that year that I had the accident, I was going through that stuff. The worst thing I had on me was driving while suspended one time. That's it. That was the extent of my rap sheet. But like if somebody wears a hoodie jogging, like Susan or whatever, a Karen, they're fine. They're.
Oh yeah, if Susan or Karen is wearing a hoodie running,
Becky's good, right?
Because they don't steal from CVS.
Yeah.
But people who look like you and me steal from CVS. A lot of people.
We're not giving the benefit of the doubt. We're not giving the benefit of the doubt. We're guilty by just ethnicity, or
guilty by existence.
Yeah.
You guilty because you look guilty.
Close enough. That's why probably the cops are
see, it all goes back to the same thing. It all goes back to, right? They're not treating you like a human being. None of these systems treat us like human beings. From the prison system that is fed by whatever the child support system was, who are not treating you like a human being. And then it just passes you on to these different sectors of such. So the police, now the police have to do whatever these fucking child support people who are not treating you like a human being. Now the cops perpetuate that, and then they put you in the system. All this shit is connected. All this shit is connected.
You know what's crazy?
Because they picked you up because you look like somebody. So all of it ultimately comes back to this racism.
What's crazy too is that it doesn't matter if the cop is Hispanic or black themselves too.
They're good talking.
Because that's the thing that they're like, but the cop, the police system can't be racist because the cop was black or the cop was Hispanic to stop me. It doesn't matter. It's what do you call it? The blue code of silence. It's like the gang mentality in the police department. So when they're gonna automatically think, no matter if they're part of the ethnicity or the minority group, they're thinking in blue. They're thinking cop mentality.
They're thinking cop mentality.
So they're not going to see us. They're going to still have their implicit biases, their implicit racism, planted in their heads.
But racism is taught to us though, everywhere, at every sector of society, racism is taught. Because racism is taught on TV when you watch Cops. Racism is taught when you see quote unquote criminals unquote right on TV. When you see like Mike Brown and the other people, look, they had these charges, and when they get murdered by the police, they show them with this mugshot. They don't show them their like high school graduation photo because it's all predetermined that we are worthless part of society and that we are evil and other. So that's they treat us like this at every step of the way.
The media is a big part of that too. Like let's say you have, like you say, Mike Brown. You said Mike Brown, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody like that. Let's say you have a victim of police brutality, and then you have the way the media covers it. It's like, okay, this person was killed by the cops. This person is known for smoking marijuana one time, and they already planting seeds in the viewers' heads to think of that person a negative way.
There you go.
Way back in the day, they got caught with some weed or some shit. So it's like they're perpetuating the narrative of already, like making the judgment that we should look down on the victim.
Perpetuating the narrative. That's what it's about. That's good.
It's a fucking narrative.
So you have this whole system that has these narratives that they teach that we are lesser and worthless and criminal. And then, so that's how the institutions or the people in the institution are fed these same narratives that they believe. And then everybody treats you like this. And then when it's set up like this to dehumanize the prisoner, to dehumanize the person.
Mm-hmm. Of
course they treat you like this. It's all criminal. It's all criminal. That's what the true criminal is, the system. In this racism that we've lived in since fucking colonization. Since your people and my people were colonized by the British and the Spanish. 500-600 years ago. We've always been fighting these. We've always had to deal with these oppressive conditions. This is oppression. This is naked oppression that we have to deal with every day. And just being picked up for looking for somebody. Someone on the street might hear your story and not think anything of it. Because they don't see these larger societal mechanisms moving.
Yeah.
They say, oh, whatever. But even nobody should have to go to prison. Who should have to go to prison? Yeah. Maybe you should go to prison if you're a rapist, maybe.
If it's
most people in prison are prison because they're poor.
Because
they stole something.
Violent crime.
Why? Because they don't have violent crime, because they grew up probably without a father in a community that doesn't have,
Mm-hmm.
The chairman today he's just speaking. He's like, all of these things, housing, food, a good job, this is a human right. If you are part of a society, your society should give these things to you. The bare minimum. How can you call yourself a society and you don't give this to your people? And then when people, the only recourse of action to rob and steal from other poor people, come on. How can this not happen,
Yeah.
It's obscene. It's disgusting. And I hate it.
But that system is it's made that way. It's made for us to feel closed in, where it's we have nothing to do. We don't see any ambitions past these walls.
Exactly.
So all we have to do is step over each other, just to survive.
Like crabs in a barrel.
Yeah.
And that's what the chairman said. He said our communities should look like Maplewood. We have a right to a decent education as a human being. And it's not civil rights, it's human rights as a human being, what you should have.
Yeah.
And that's what we're fighting for.
One thing that kind of pisses me off too, not pisses me off, because I have some good friends that are in the majority, like white friends.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just wish more. If you're, let's say, 70% of the population, we should have more people that are allies that speak up for us.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're not going through it doesn't mean. Obviously, they know it exists, but
I don't think they know the conditions.
I mean,
that's
why
I don't know much. I've had the privilege of having a relatively middle class life that I am kind of separate and away from, a lot of people who just in the street struggle, and now this is all economic, as we've said,
Yeah,
so the poorer you are, the deeper you're going to be into all of these horrible struggle situations. So I've had the the fortune of growing up basically middle class and not having to know about the legal system. You know, that's the thing. When you're poor and you grow up in these communities, broken communities, you're more likely to go to prison. So you're more likely to have familiarity.
Not only that, but schooling is terrible.
Yeah, all of that's all part of the same thing. You know, because you need to, in order to get a job, you need a lot of jobs. They want college degrees. And, you know, if you have shit education, people are not out for that. Even today, you know, somebody like me with a college degree, it's getting worse because this economy is so shit. They don't really want to pay anybody who's not in finance or the medical industry. You know, wages have been stagnated. You have people like me with a college degree still not even being able to make a living wage with a college degree.
So imagine everybody else.
So imagine people, somebody who grew up in the hood and whose father was in jail, grew up on these streets, selling drugs, killing, robbing, whatever. What does he have? You know, he has that. My mother's a school principal. She kept me basically on the straight and narrow growing up, getting on honor roll, all that shit, because she knows how it is out here. She didn't want me to do this. She didn't want me in that. So all of this is all about class, brother. This is all about class and economics. Unfortunately, that's what we're fighting change. We can't do this. No, can't do this. We've done this long enough.
You have to give people opportunities.
We've done this for half of a millennium, bro.
Yeah, that's why one of the things I hate is this whole, you know, when it comes to politics, this whole incremental change bullshit. That's just like I told a friend. That's just kicking the can. People like, well, what happened in the civil rights era? They didn't wait for it. They said we're tired of waiting for incremental change. We're gonna put our foot down. Either you do, you know, we have these little checklists of demands we have. You either abide by them, or we're gonna lose our shit. We're not gonna put up with it anymore. You hit that wall where it's like enough is enough.
The literal walls when the police are slamming you in your community, hitting you up, and so, you know, if the police treat you, because, you know, now we've said these police have had these narratives. Now they treat you like this. They treat you like a criminal. They don't even care who you are. You're the criminal. Yeah. And if you talk bad to them, you know, they hit you in the head. They do whatever they want to you. They treat you like a piece of garbage. You're literally up against the wall. Everything. People are tired of this.
I think that's the what they call it. They say like the biggest crime in a police's mentality is you challenging their authority, or you like they're very fragile when it comes to their, even if it's an unlawful order they gave you. If you happen to stand up for your rights, they're gonna see that as an attack against their ego. Their ego, you know. So it's like
they put it on their status as
on their flex. You know, they try to flex on you. And so that's once that happens, boom, they escalate. Instead of they're supposed to de-escalate, they're supposed to work for us.
Who?
The police.
Okay.
You know, that's at least the concept. You know, but no, all it takes is a small little thing to push their button for them to escalate things, and they want you to. It's easy for them to dismiss you because they can go back home and have their fruitful life afterwards. They don't care if you end up in jail. They don't care, you know.
Most of these people, you know, not saying that we even do need a police force because maybe the people in the community could do that. But even, you know, besides that, a lot of the police here do not from the area. You know, they don't see the impact of their actions or care. If they do, then they think it's all justified by this racist idea, by all these racist narratives that have been fed to us for 500 years.
And they do the same shit themselves. The only thing is that they get away with it. So they break the law all the time. They just get away with it because they have that blue shield. You know, they have that.
Lenin said that the police and the armed forces are bodies of armed men, and the police, all these things, they exist above society because they're not part of society. And so since they exist outside of the normal realities and circles that me and you as civilians, they're not considered civilians. So they think of themselves as better because they're not a part of the citizenry, you know? And that's why we'll always have this irreconcilable difference between us, between the people and them. You know, Fred Hampton said, you got to look at me. I'm the people. I'm not the pig. The pig is the pig. I'm the people. But that's what he's saying. Because the police and the army, they're not a part of society.
Yeah.
Their rules are different. What they can do is different from what me and you can do. And that's why the police can never represent the people. Because they exist apart from society. And they exist to serve the ruling class. Who maybe might look like you, but definitely does not, might look like you or me, but they do not have our interests at home, in their heart, at heart, because they are...
They're detached.
They're detached. And that's the detachment of the ruling class and the people. And that's why if you always have that, that's why you have these people, they're just oppressors. And it can only be oppression. That's the only relationship that we can have, because they're not us.
It's perspective. Like they
can't
have...
be us. Because they're not us, you know? Because they have this power to stand above us.
They're in a protected bubble. So they're like, they know they're safe in a little bubble.
Exactly.
They can do whatever they want. And they don't have to answer to the...
And a lot of people who look like me and you, who don't realize all these systemic problems, they just want to join that one privileged group. They just want privilege. They don't want justice. They just want privilege for them and their small group of people. And that's why those people are never gonna be about revolution. They're never gonna want a revolution. That's what we want, right?
Mm-hmm.
You read it. You read what's on here.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom and power. You know, that's money. Full employment, housing, free healthcare. This is just basic humanity.
Yeah.
This is not crazy shit. You know,
these
are not crazy demands. We're not asking for $1 million.
It's not radical.
None of this, you know, this should not be radical. But it is. This is considered very radical. Because capitalism is a right-wing ideology, and the Democrats and Republicans are right-wing. This seems radical to them.
To them, yeah. But if you go in Europe, whatever, that's just basic, you know, everybody else in other nations have that. What's on that paper.
And in America, one of the richest countries in the world, where you have this gulf of oppression, of inequality that exists, bro.
And a history.
Gulf.
A history of
and
it.
A history of it, you know?
It's frustrating. It's definitely frustrating.
Definitely right. But, you know, all power to the people do have the power. You know, that's why these general strikes work. Everybody stopped working. What would these corporations be? These corporations would not function. These corporations would cease to exist if they can't extract a profit. They can't make a profit. That's why the people have all the power. But the people are so divided. People need to see that they have all the power.
The thing is getting through to the people, because the people are used to. It's like I said, it's institutionalized. So people don't notice that they have the power. They don't know that they look for a leader to tell them what to do, and they don't think that they have the power to.
Yeah.
To that their vote matters, and they don't have to vote one side or the other. There's a lot of gray areas.
Well, that's the whole thing. A lot of people see the Democratic Party and think that the Democratic Party is about the people.
Oh, no,
they think that the Democrats represent the people, and that the Democrats are the quote left.
I get a lot of shit from Democrats, more than Republicans, honestly.
Yeah, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton. Sorry, not Hillary Clinton. Joe Biden and Bill Clinton made that crime bill. Mm-hmm. You know, Obama was responsible for 1033 that allowed all the military grade weapons. You know, on these police forces, Obama did that.
And mass deportation. And,
you know, he was. I heard. I think. Don't quote me. That he was a worse deporter.
Yeah,
than
he
Bush
was. He was. Yeah.
You know, when everybody looks, because he has a.
Well,
he's well spoken.
He has that finesse. He has
that charisma.
Yeah.
Oh, he's of the people.
But he's a centralist.
He's not. He's
in the pocket of Wall Street.
Exactly. He represents these finance interests, business interests again. As all these presidents do, bro. 'Cause that's what it is to be the ruling class in this country. You represent finance and business interests.
They're part of that club. It's a little
Corporation.
club they have, and they all, right or left, they all fuck with each other.
Yeah,
And they all they're cool with each other. They just play it off for the mass.
yeah.
So
It's a horrible illusion.
That's right.
So we need to dispel that. But I think the people know. I think the masses know. The masses are waking up now, especially with Bernie Sanders as DNC. They're realizing that a lot of this is a sham, and that this voting is not, and that they ruined this. They realize that all of these things are manipulated and corrupt, and everybody's kind of seeing it more, and they can't hide it that much anymore.
Not everybody more blatant about it too, but at the same time, it's like let's say 2016 was a huge wake up call for the establishment on the left, and instead of hearing our voice, what they did was double down on old boomer mentality, on stubborn old Democrats thinking one way, and they doubled down on it. Now in 2020, but now what they did was alienate a whole demographic that they need in order to win an election. And the demographic is getting larger. The independents, the true progressives, people that's disenfranchised, people that they're finally putting their foot down because their voice is not heard. Not heard.
Because the voice is not heard.
So you have you're gonna get Democrats are gonna take another L this year.
Of course.
Now let's see what happens in midterms in 2 years, or let's see what happens in 2024, because that's going to shape how our political structure is going to end up looking. Are they going to give us our check? They're going to check our boxes, or are they going to be stubborn and continue to take L's?
Well, I hope that the Democrats lose so people can fully see.
What's going to happen? I already know.
Fully see how corrupt they are.
One thing I said, one of my posts.
I want people to lose faith in the system, because the system is never represented.
I lost faith in 2000.
Good.
A while ago.
Good.
That's why I didn't take this elections has been for me about means for me and all that. But I try to have a little bit of hope.
The hope that you should have is the hope in the people. Your hope. Everyone should lose hope in these ruling class organs doing anything for them. People need to realize that these ruling class organs are not going to serve their interests. And once people lose faith in that, then they can look to the people for deliverance. Because the people have to be, not me, but the people. We have to be our own liberators.
My hope wasn't on the Democratic Party. I can't stand it. My hope was on the people. It was on progressives, on people that we were going to get a huge voter turnout to check the Democrats, to check, to send a shock wave to the establishment. Oh wait, here's a handful of people who call themselves, let's say, social democrats or whatever, and they're the voice of the voiceless, and they're saying things like, Medicare for all, college tuition for all, or student debt forgiveness, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Environmental issues, stuff like that, things that affect us all. Because when it comes to environmental, when it comes to all these different things, schooling, Medicare, this is all stuff that affects poor and working class people. And if we have those basic needs, that's going to help us get a leg up, while everybody else already had a head start.
You're not going to be going to jail if you have an education, bro.
Yeah.
If you have an education and a job, if you're making enough money for yourself and you're doing something that's maybe, here's an idea, actually fulfilling, what are you going to be out here in the streets shooting somebody, selling whatever for? If you're doing something that you like, you have an education, all of this shit's going to go away, puff and smoke, like a puff of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
But good. We covered a lot of.
That's a badass one.
We covered everything, huh?
So that's a badass hoodie, by the way.
Oh, good luck, homie. Yeah, wear this hoodie. I'm not wearing my Black Panther hoodie. This is on. This is important to me. This is a part of the revolution too, because the.
And that's part of mentality too. It's we all
Nah.
people like us are like outside the box kind of people, like gray area people.
But historically, religion has mostly been a tool of oppression and the elite. You know, during the medieval Europe, the people who could read were in church. You know, church and state were bound together for so long. And it was a crazy idea where, you know, Thomas Jefferson and all of them, that they wanted, you know, not that they're great, and I don't like them, and I think they're pieces of shit. But that was a new idea back in the 18th century, that maybe church and state should be different. Because they wanted power. Because what the merchants wanted power, and they were not part of the clergy, and they realized that. You know? So, religion, historically, you know, even Constantine, you know, all the religion has served the elite. Even in the what do you call it? World War II, when you had fascist Spain, the anarchists burned churches over there because a lot of the Catholic Church members were loyal to Franco. So this is a long history of oppression that wears Jesus' face on, you know?
I mean,
and that was my first break from kind of the establishment with religion. And then later on that I realized that, you know, it's not just Christianity's problem, it's capitalism is the problem.
Yeah. Because like capitalism, churches make money off of the downtrodden.
They
the
make
poor,
so much money,
you know?
bro. They make the poor pay for all of their
Yeah.
shit. You know, the poor pay
Same
for
thing
all
with
that shit.
capitalism. It's like you're stepping on poor people's backs to make a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the church. Same thing with capitalism. Same thing with all that shit. It's like,
That's why you have these. If you see a lot of these cops and a lot of these army people, they're all very religious because you know all of these organs of power are holding hands together and all running in the same circle. You know.
not only that, but it's easier to manipulate people or to take advantage of people when you get them emotional by making them think of a Jesus as a distraction while you do your okie doke in the background.
Well, at the end of the day, poor people are despairing and they need something else, and you know they have this spiritual hunger for something. Oh, is my suffering legitimate? And that's what Christianity over here has told people, that yes, you know, you're eventually you will receive your reward in heaven, and that the flesh is just some sort of test for you, you know. So they make everything okay when it shouldn't be okay.
Yeah.
It hasn't been okay for 500 years, bro. But you know, they come here and the people need this. The people, because when you have this kind of despair and suffering, I've heard that human beings can undergo any amount of pain and suffering as long as they have a reason. You know, you have this thing in your mind that says it's gonna all be okay in the end. You can endure anything, you know, hell. And we have endured hell. You know, and they've given us Jesus. But, you know, I think it was Thomas Sankara, the president of Burkina Faso, who's a socialist. I think he was a Christian. He said, you know, Christianity cannot reconcile the classes, the poor and the rich. Religion doesn't do that. The only thing that can do that is socialism. That's the only thing that can change, because this is all about these economic relationships that we have between each other, between the companies that we work for, who own factories and stuff. That's where everything has to change. If you don't change that, nothing else changes. And he knew that. Even though he was a Christian, he knew that.
Here's a question I have for you. Why is it that you think in this country that people see it as a smear to call somebody out that disagrees with them a socialist or a communist right away, instead of like as a smear, not even engage with them and have a civil discussion or civil discourse?
Because they've been taught that for 50 years. Because it's in the history books. It's in the air. You know, the
quote unquote American dream, American ideal is individualism. That's plain and simple. You know, that I should be able to do whatever I want to do if I have enough money. And I can act as this autonomous thing that exists almost independently of the society, right? That's and I think everybody implicitly knows that. If you have enough money, you can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, you get away with a lot more.
You can get with everything for your money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you have enough power, money and power, you are immune to life, and you can enjoy these privileges based on that status. So that's ultimately what they sell you in the American dream, that this individual. But the individual is a lie. Because, of course it's a lie. Because they're extracting these profits. The richest people, the banks, they're all extracting profit from working people like you and me. There would be absolutely nothing without you. Without you and me, what would they be? They would be nothing. They would not exist.
They're not getting their hands dirty.
They would.
Yeah.
And so, the people have everything. So if you can give them this ideology, this idea that it's all about the individual, then you can divide this great. Because this is how it is. When you're in elite status, when you're small and you have this elite group of people, there's not many of them. The 1% is a small number. So what you have to do necessarily to keep your power is to divide and conquer. Because if somebody said this. They said communism is not even a smart idea. All the ants coming together to fight something bigger, a bigger force. That's not a. That's a simple fucking idea, huh?
The ants coming together.
Ants. The ants coming together to fight a bigger thing. You know, one ant can't.
They're only
be
bigger because of their money.
Exactly.
It's not numbers.
One ant cannot beat a spider.
Okay.
A big. Say one ant versus a giant tarantula.
You can lift that motherfucker up.
If you got a wave of ants, they will eat that tarantula.
Oh yeah, they'll tear that shit up in seconds.
Exactly, and that's what it can be with us. That's what if we
but
can
we
raise.
need to get to that.
But you got to start with the people. You have to go to the masses, and you have to be able to show them class consciousness. You got to show them that what their place is in this, and that most people who are born poor are going to be poor, and that this pie in the sky American dream of individuals horseshit that they fed everybody for 50 years, 60 years since when they wrote the history books, and then they wrote the communists as the villains of the Cold War. If we can fight this, we can break that, and we can build this class consciousness in everybody, then we can take power from them and actually live in a world where you don't have to walk down the street and you look like a criminal and they take you to prison. And this is in Montclair. And this is in Montclair. North, they definitely treat you like a piece of dog shit.
Yeah, I was the only motherfucker in there. Like in the little holding cell they have there, it was just me, nobody else. Empty as hell. Because all they do is pull people over for tickets. They don't. Yeah,
that's why Bluefield.
Vice
documentary did a documentary. I haven't watched it yet. Vice Entertainment did a documentary on Bloomfield, like how hot it is.
They
how
pull
they
people over all the time. I got pulled over in Bloomfield for tickets.
Me too. I've gotten pulled over for making wrong left turns. Yeah. Everybody's gotten pulled over on there. Mm-hmm. And they'll pull you over at any time of night too. They be out here 1, 2, 3 a.m. I've gotten pulled over in 2 separate cars on 2 separate occasions because somebody made a wrong left turn.
Yeah. I mean, part of it, I think, is because they want to keep people from Newark away from their little border.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
I think that's part of it. It's like a
border patrol.
A little backhand.
Wow.
Stay away from us, North people.
Bro, I never thought about that.
There's a buffer between here in Montclair and Newark.
In East Orange. In Irvington, in the undesirables.
Yeah. What was that?
The unloved.
How Clinton, Hillary called people the deplorables.
She said that?
What did she say? During 2016, she called people who are not her allies or whatever, let's say people who are Republican, deplorables.
The deplorables.
That was her catchphrase. And that's part of the reason that lost her the election. Because if you're trying to get poor people or working class people to vote for you, how are you going to cut off like a chunk? How are you going to dismiss a chunk of people that would have voted for you if you just phrase things in a way where you showed them that, okay, because let's say
that's the danger to the white moderate too.
Yeah.
Of if you frame your ruling class agenda as not such, so you can appeal to poor people and have them vote for you.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of like let's say X talked about that a lot when it comes to white liberals and stuff like that. He saw them as worse than white conservatives for a reason.
That's right. I agree with that.
He did
shit.
that.
I agree.
I fully agree with it. It's like,
I agree.
What's the metaphor he used? He used the wolf and fox metaphor. You know what that is, right? So he said, the fox kind of like smirks at you, pretends to be a friend. You got to watch out for the fox. The wolf, at least you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that's what I respect about X a lot. I love, that dude was like he was ahead of his time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that's how I see life. It's like I know what I'm dealing with when it comes to both parties.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Republicans, for sure, I already know, so I can dismiss them easily.
Mm-hmm.
But the Democrats that pretend to be allies, I already see through it.
And then that's the question. The question is, do we have any political power? If both of these ruling class groups do not have our interests at heart, what is our recourse of action? What are we supposed to do?
The way I say it right now, when it comes to presidency, I still think we should vote. But when it comes to the local and state level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to president, we can't continue this cycle of voting. This whole blue no matter who shit is not working. So I would not vote for Bill. Same way I didn't vote for Clinton. I'm not going to vote for Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Sanders for sure I would vote for. At least you can tell he's genuine.
Mm-hmm.
He's not perfect. We will never find a politician that 100% aligns with our views. So we're going to find things we can nitpick on. But for the most part, we should stay away from voting for the lesser of evils and just vote for who closer aligns with our views and our check marks that we want checked, our litmus test, so to speak. So, but we also have what's it called? Little things that we can vote for. Let's say in this election cycle, we have legalized marijuana coming up on the ballot. That's another incentive to vote, because if we can legalize marijuana, there's less people that are black and brown that can be put in jail for weed. Yeah. Because white people get away with smoking all the time. But we don't. So
that's true. That's something more immediate.
It's deep. It's something to think about.
But also, Bernie Sanders is not a part of the. Bernie Sanders is to the left of the Democrats and the Republicans. Definitely,
He's an independent, but he's definitely more progressive
he should
than
not
any Democrat.
He should not be part of the. He should not be part of the Democratic Party.
The only reason why he went Democrat is because
he didn't want obscurity.
Well, it's a path to win. Like if he were to go independent, he doesn't get the exposure when it comes to media, the way or debates, stuff like that. When do you ever see a Green Party member in a debate stage?
Exactly. Well, of course not.
Yeah.
These people.
So that's why he does that.
These people, the Green Party, what they want is not a part of what the capitalists want. The capitalists are not going to give that to you.
And I know Green Party gets shit.
Never.
I voted for Joe Stein.
Me too, but the capitalists will never give us what we want.
Yeah.
And they're not. There's a black woman, I think, Claudia Jones. She says the rich will never allow you to vote away their power.
Yeah. Not only the rich, but also...
So even the stuff that Bernie Sanders wants to do, you see how the Democrats have allied themselves against Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, it's like Voltron. The way they got together...
It was like fucking Voltron.
They got together and they stonewalled him like a motherfucker.
Because they know that even democratic socialism is a direct, violent, direct...
It's for the people.
Clear and present threat to their power,
to their pockets,
to their money. He's definitely a threat to their money and their power. Even democratic socialism, which is not even as radical.
It's not even real socialism.
It's not even as radical as I am, or as radical as I think
He's too nice.
people need to be, because it doesn't talk about the larger issues of American imperialism dealing with the world. But that's a whole nother conversation.
I think if we had like a mixture of like him and Tulsi Gabbard when it comes to Tulsi's like in your face approach to challenging the status quo or establishment with his kind of it's like a mixture thing. It's like he's just way too nice. So like he's calling Joe Biden his friend, he's calling Elizabeth Warren his friend, and they all backstab him like a motherfucker. You gotta have spine. You gotta stand up. You gotta.
Well, that's the thing. If you want to play ball with the Democrats, you gotta. If you want to play ball with the Democrats, then you gotta. Then they're on your team. Then they're your teammates. If you playing ball and you on a Democrat team, but when the Democrat pitcher comes in the dugout, you got to give him a high five.
Yeah, or else
because he's part of your team.
But they will shit on you the moment that you don't bow down and do exactly what they say. That's the issue.
Of course.
It's crazy.
I got one more question. I think we talked about everything.
Okay.
Two more things.
Sure.
Let's talk about the guards a little bit.
The guards?
You talked about the guards dehumanizing. What else can you say about how the guards function?
It's not that all of them were terrible. There were a few that were. I don't know if it's like, you know how good cop, bad cop thing. So you have your nurture type ones, but like they were all like, okay, you know, if you behave, you get an extra little cup of juice or something. Like some, I could see from afar that some inmates had a certain relationship with guards. You know, it's like favoritism kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like there's a lot of looking down, a lot of just like looking. Them not treating you as people. You know, to them, they're just clocking in and out.
Well, it's a job for them.
Yeah. But at the same time, they got to realize that they're forming an opinion in our minds, or they're the face of, or not even the face, they're the person that we see on a daily basis that, depending on how they speak to us, depending on how they treat us, determines on our experience there. Like, are they there to beat us down, or are they there to rehabilitate us?
Rehabilitation.
Which is not a thing. That's a revolving door. It's not
correction. Yeah. When you treat people so nakedly brutal, it doesn't seem like you're trying to rehabilitate them to enter society again, or whatever the fuck they believe.
And for the most part, other than those few moments where they have to check the boxes and be like, okay, this person's here, you know, roll call, whatever, they line you up, they make sure everybody's there. Once you're in your little boxes, they disappear. Then you're on your own.
Wow.
They don't really watch you. I've seen fights back and forth. I've seen like all kinds of crazy shit happen. Nobody came through to break it up.
Wow.
So you can literally get fucked up. Look, I've seen beatdowns right in front of me. I'll talk to two people. The two big dudes I'm telling you about came into the bullpen. And I'm like, damn, these dudes, like, you can tell they've been here for a while. So me, I'm like in the cut, I lay back, I'm observing, you know, keeping it cool. And then they were looking for somebody to pick on. They found a person. And when they talked to me, they're like, okay. And then the person was like, what you looking at? Because they kept on looking at him. They were provoking him. That's all it took. They just got up, both of them, and just started pounding him. His face, like, his eye was like bloody, he was tearing.
Jesus.
He just went back down. He was going to withdraw too. So I mean, he was going to
God. So then, yeah. Damn.
So he said that, you know, under, you know, because that's processing. So he came from outside. He was probably fucked up already. And they beat him down to like a pulp. And I'm just there like, I'm not moving. I'm not watching. You know, like, to me, because if I were to, I can't react. Because if I react, that's your weakness in any way. So you always got to have that in your mind. So here I am, like, hoping that they don't, you know, like, it's all like a Wild West kind of conditions. Like, anything can happen whenever, and those guards are not going to make you feel protected. You're not protected ever there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
so they're not there to protect you.
No. There,
what are they there for?
They're there to get that check and to make sure that nobody dies under their watch. But if somebody gets hurt, they'll quickly turn the other cheek as long as nobody dies. And not only that, but even if you give like a simple request, oh, I have to use the bathroom, or hey, we ran out of toilet paper, or this and that. Not all of them will react. They're gonna pass by. They're not. It's very, very. They're very detached. They don't see.
You see what I was saying about that? These groups that are above society, these armed men are above society. They're not a part of you. And the prisoner comes from this class of people who are the workers, or the people who have been disaffected by society and fallen through the cracks of society. All that. But I feel like that's still part of the working class. But they didn't have a job or whatever, if you're selling drugs. So you're through the crack. But still, they're down here and they're not up here. They're not a part of the armed men. That's what you said. That's what the detachment is.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I know it's not even like my own work history. I worked in the post office. I was in the military, so I know there were times where I'm pretty sure I made a lot more than they did at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they still look down on you because you're in your situation at the moment. They don't know your history. They don't know what you did or not. But they know, hey, you're there now without knowing your background, your backstory, without even giving you a chance to speak to them.
But doing that would humanize you.
Yeah, they don't want that.
If you talk to people and you learn their history. And then because then you have to treat them like a human being.
Yeah. And they don't want that because that'll ruin their job. Their leverage, their power.
Exactly.
They're like, oh shit, this dude's actually, I had a conversation with him, he's not that bad.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't treat him like a piece of shit.
And in my head, I'm thinking, it's like, in me, remember, this is my first time going through this. So in my head, I'm like, people are really living like this, being treated like this? And everybody else that's there, that's been there a few times, they're used to it.
They're used to dehumanization.
So I felt like I was almost like a secret reporter, somebody that's just like observing and seeing things for the first time. The people in the public, I wish they would know what was going on. Really.
That's what this is about. That's why we're doing this interview, because we want to expose the degradation and the corruption of the system for people, so we can use this as a tool to fight all of these structures of oppression. So you're doing good work by just telling me what you went through, so I can publicize it, so I can write about it, and so I can show people how terrible it is, and how much of it is a violation of our human rights.
Yeah, but like the main things I would say from my experience there, very, very disgusting, dirty conditions. Garbage all over the floor. You're forced to either sleep on the concrete floor or concrete benches. Bright lights that never turn off. People just banging. You hear gates or the doors slamming. You can never sleep because there's always noise going on 24/7. And then you're always worried about, because the guards are not around. So you're worried about who's going to sneak up on you when you're trying to sleep, or you're worried about things that you never think about in your own home, or
when you're safe, you don't feel safe.
So now you're thrown in a situation where you're not used to. You just have to deal with it. I mean, I was more prepared because of my history. Growing up where I grew up, my military history, stuff like that. If you had somebody that came out of nowhere, never experienced that, and never experienced, they say the street or military stuff like that, or a combination of both, they would have shit their pants. They would have been like,
how did the military prepare you for this?
I know how to deal with the guards more.
How so?
Because in the military you have, let's say, drill sergeants and stuff like that. You're used to the barking, the orders, stuff like that.
So you're used to being dehumanized.
In a way, yeah. that was a little prep. But that, it's like almost like that and street savvy at the same time, coming from work. That, like, it gave me situational awareness of what's going on around me.
Situational awareness.
So I always know to make sure to look around me, what's going on. Like, even though I'm quiet, I'm observing. I'm always constantly observing for threats, observing for any body language or anything to tip off that there's danger coming. That's how I know to not fuck around with certain people
Mm.
who I can have conversation with. Is reading body language and reading stuff like that.
Mm.
You know, somebody that's next door that never been through shit won't pick up on those signs and they'll be a victim.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I could have easily been that guy that got tumbled down because he didn't know any better.
You beat him to a pulp, you
Yeah.
said.
Oh,
Who was good, but you know he was already in a compromised situation because he was going through withdrawals,
yeah.
this is unfortunate because he had his own physical problem to deal with, and now these people are just exploiting him further with their violence.
Yeah. Is that like there were people like I said I had people like I couldn't even sleep. I'll be laying down like I said, sitting, not even laying down. I couldn't even barely lay down. I was sitting up. It's so crowded that there's people to my left and right, shoulder to shoulder. There's people all over the floor, so you got to watch where you step. And people that want to withdraw, that when they're shaking into your personal space. So you got to sometimes kind of push them away, So like you don't mean to be rude or like you understand what they're going through. But then there's other times I see these dudes shaking and I feel bad for them. Like I want to, are you okay, dude? Like check up on them. But sometimes I want to do that. People look around and you don't know what they're thinking. They're like, oh, look at this soft dude. What's wrong with him? Or you don't know how the person's going to react. They're going to take offense to it or not. Like, you're very on edge. You're always walking on eggshells there.
Everything is this kind of this perpetual anxiety.
Yeah.
All
you
the
never know how
time.
people are going to react.
Because nobody can trust each other.
Yeah.
That's the divide and conquer thing. If everybody's always at each other's heels,
and when you're
how can they? They don't want people forming groups to fight them or to be.
They want to pit them against each other.
Exactly.
As a distraction from who's really responsible.
That's what I'm talking about. That's right. You got it.
Same thing. It's the same thing with politics or anything in general.
Same thing as with society in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a kind of more hyper intense version of what's going on in politics. You're right. Talk about that more.
I mean, yeah, you have, like they say, poor working class white people. You have poor working class Hispanics or black people. Why is it that people that are going through the same struggles as us, but happen to be in the majority, they don't go after those on top that are keeping us all down?
Who do they go after?
They look for the person next to them, the people that are in the city or right next border city or whatever that happen to be minorities, because of the rhetoric of certain politicians or whatever, to say, oh, blame those people over there for your problems. Blame social programs that you also benefit from, but the media makes it seem like it's all black and brown people that take, let's say, welfare or whatever the programs are. But you're taking it too, but blame them for your problems. It's the same thing with Flint, Michigan, the whole water crisis thing. So you have one side of the river, above it was like all white people, poor white people. Then you have people in the south, in Flint, whatever, that were poor black and brown people, and the poor white people blaming people across the river for all the issues instead of blaming the government for having that
faulty infrastructure.
Yeah,
Divide and conquer again. That's good. It's good. It's good that we see these parallels that exist throughout different sectors of society. That's important. You sound like you're ready to join the revolution, brother.
I've been there.
I think you're ready. You should come out. You should come out and join us one Saturday. I don't know what you do on Saturday. One day you should come feed the people with us or something like that. Come meet the comrades. That'd be good. Hell yeah. All right, last question. How do you cope with all this, right? Because this is, now you have this new experience of how fucked up it was with you, and like that's probably gonna affect how you approach the world now, how you move, probably, right? Tell me about that.
I mean, what it did, I already kind of knew what it was like before that, but the perspective and experience of actually going through it definitely opened my eyes more to like a 3D kind of way where I saw certain things that I didn't see before. So it like heightened it even higher. Where So now I have more of an understanding of how it really is. Because, now I have to go through it.
Because
And
now you were living
I got
it.
an inside peek of what it's like.
Mm.
Where I just had to assume and go by other people's story before. So
Okay.
So that
Like
gave me-
secondhand experience.
Yeah.
Which
So
is
now-
still legitimate, but now that you know and you see
Yeah,
and you
now
can
I
smell
know-
it, right? You remember that
Oh,
smell.
for sure.
You remember that smell.
Disgusting. Yeah, I'll never forget that. Hi, how's it going?
So yeah, I was talking about. You said you were used to it. You said all that stuff, and it's kind of deepen your understanding of everything, and that's where we was at.
Okay. Yeah, I was always been even in my teen years, I've always been like somebody when it comes to religion and stuff like that, or different things. I've always been like somebody that's questions. It's always trying to learn something. It's always trying to dig into. Let's say, whatever I'm told, I want to dig into it to find out if it's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been that skeptic when it comes
You
to
don't always want to just take something at face value.
Yeah. So I've always challenging, skeptical, debate-wise. I'll talk to people and figure out why do you feel this way, and counter my opinions and go back and forth. And that's one of the things that always stuck with me was when it comes to, let's say, the prison-industrial complex, politics, religion. It's always things that help us learn from each other. We actually have conversations that don't lead to personal attacks. That's one of the main things is that we're not going to go anywhere if we're attacking each other for different views. Instead of that, Daryl Davis, you heard of him?
Yeah.
That's the guy that this black comedian dude. Not comedian, he's a black dude that does jazz, blues. He's a musician. So what he did was, there's a documentary on it. He's also did Joe Rogan's podcast. His thing was, when he was 9 years old, he went through some racism. So what he did was, he did some parade with the Boy Scout or whatever. They were throwing bottles at him. He didn't know why, because he never experienced it. He was overseas for a while with his family. He came back. He didn't realize what was going on until they were protecting him, and the teachers broke down to what was going on. So throughout his life, what he did was try to figure out the answer to that question: why are people this way? So what happened was he decided to, I guess, go undercover as a journalist and go into the trenches, and he ended up going to a bar that had KKK members.
Whoa.
And what he did was infiltrate them. He made a fake name, pretending he was a white guy trying to get into the KKK, and then he showed who he was. He dived in, and through his research and talking to KKK members, he spoke to them. He let them get to know him. He didn't quickly brush them off, and he ended up, by talking to them and showing them, because they're not used to interacting with people of color, he got through to a lot of them. So what he did was he had like almost, I think, 200 either KKK or white nationalists end up giving up their hoods and their cloaks, and they gave up their old lifestyles just off the strength of him exposing or giving his perspective and getting them to know a person of color. So I think that's important, to talk to people who we don't necessarily agree with on their views, and just find common ground, because we all have things in common. Once we find common grounds, we can teach each other from each other's perspectives and get through to each other. So there'll be less divide, because those things, racial separation or stuff, there's certain things that are, like you said, divide conquer. So if we can pass through those walls that people always building up, we can help. That'll help us get through to people. Not always, because you're gonna have people that just you can never get through to. They're set in their ways. They're old school. Whatever.
That's right.
But there's certain people that I hope to get through to. There's a few that told me that I did. But then there's just some people that they're lost. But if we can get like a handful of people change their mindset and show them our perspective and they respect it, then that's the world. Like, you know, what you're doing. If you can talk to certain people, tell them what you're about. Hey, this is a list of what we're about. We want to be treated like humans. We want to be treated. We want schooling. We want respect. We want our voices to be heard. Get that message across to people. There are people like, oh shit, I would like that for myself. Like, you know, I noticed that, or people will be like, hey, I'm privileged where I don't have to think about that. But hearing you say it face to face, or hearing you, or checking out podcasts, checking out an interview, that opens up my eyes where, okay, now I'm seeing where you're coming from. And now I'm going to tell my friends about this. Check this dude out. This dude's, you know, dropping some gems. He's trying to, and that can spread like a wildfire if you know, you use the right people or the right mediums.
That's right. That's what we want to do.
So that'll be kind of cool. And then, you know, definitely keep on doing that thing. And whatever helps inspire people, puts a little, you know, fire into the belly. That'll help out.
I think, as I said before, I think people kind of know that everything is kind of fucked up and against them. But, like, they need to see it more. Just like you said, just open your eyes more to how unequal and how brutal and oppressive the system is. And you get more of a first-hand understanding of that oppression. Once that boot is on your neck more now, you know?
And it's good to cross lines, not cross lines, but to stay away from echo chambers. Because you're not going to get through to people outside the box if we're just talking to people that think just like us. So it's good to organize and come up with a template, and then just like branch out and like hit up these different spots and reach out to people that are not as savvy as us when it comes to social.
Of course, yeah. That's why you gotta go. You got to go to the masses. You just can't, you know, a big critique of the left in America in general is that a lot of these people just stay in these echo chambers. They stay in the academy, and they don't engage the masses. That's where the change needs to come. Change needs to come from the masses. That's what Mao was all about, you know, from the masses to the masses, all that. And if the masses can liberate themselves. That's what we want to do. It's not that we want to just be like, we're the leaders, or call ourselves the leaders. Like, nah. We want to talk to the masses, see what their problems are, figure it out, come back to them. This is what we think we can do. And then work towards it. Because we want to be a part of the masses, you know? And not just stand above it like these police, like the CEOs. Like the politicians, stand above it and dictate. We don't want to do that no more, because you end up with the same oppressive power structures that just exploit people and don't humanize them.
It's kind of like this country. It was formed on what? Us, or not us.
Definitely not us, bro.
Yeah. Because
I was considered property.
Yeah.
You know.
At that time, I was on the island. And Indians was chilling.
Word up.
But then we had a fucking ship come over.
With those motherfuckers.
Fuck our ancestors up.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's that. It's just trying to.
They didn't treat them like humans either.
No.
They didn't treat them like, because they out here for a profit. That's what it was all about.
Genocide.
Land, genocide, money, profit, resources, land,
The islands were
private property.
That's what it was. So you have Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Jamaica, all that. We all got ransacked.
Ransacked. That's a good word.
We all got our clocks clean, you know. And then once depleted, they went on their way, not giving a fuck. That's why Puerto Rico is in the state that it's in now. It's hard to get a job. Like you said, even with college degrees, there's a lot of people coming to the mainland because of that. At least with us, it's a little bit easier because we're at least a commonwealth. They never made us a state for a reason. It's because we're minorities. They didn't do like, let's say, Alaska or Hawaii. You know, look at how Trump responded to the hurricane.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't treat us.
I was so insulting.
And Puerto Rico is we have a military base. It's always been there. You know, and they practice dropping bombs and vehicles, which is a smaller island right off of Puerto Rico,
Mm.
and a lot of people there got cancer from this bombings.
Wow. What's the name of the island?
Vieques.
I never heard of that.
The Vieques. It's like a tiny little island right off of Puerto Rico. But and there's also an Army Air Force base there.
Mm.
So, and the National Guard in Puerto Rico they have fought in every war since World War II as part of the United States.
Wow.
So Vietnam, we're talking about every conflict.
But they don't receive.
We don't have any.
They don't even get treated as shitty as American veterans do.
The island can't even vote for a president. For the president.
Oh, for the American president.
Like, yeah, we have a governor. The island has a governor. The island has Puerto Rican. Everything's because remember, it's part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even if you're born and raised on Puerto Rico, you're part of the country. Because you're a Commonwealth, you're a territory.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the Virgin Islands, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no representatives in Congress. There's no voting rights when it comes to like it's all the it's not even perks because it's also there's no what's it called
There's no perks.
no because there's not even any bankruptcy the people can take whenever they're financially it's just absorbing and not getting anything
Mm.
so it's like a depletion of resources and the people. It's depletion of the island.
Sounds like exploitation to me.
Yeah. Shit that will never happen in a neighborhood that's affluent or in a country.
Word. We'll see what they do. They take from other places and they hoard. They take from here and they put it here, so they have it. So where they put it is where they live.
But what they get away with on the island, or let's say on poor neighborhoods, let's say if you have like a oil refinery or factories or stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
they'll put it in poor neighborhoods. They'll never put it in like next to Beverly Hills.
Oh, because there's probably some sort of health risk that goes along with this heavy industry
Oh
too.
yeah, for sure. So they rather poor and working class people deal with asthma, stuff like that.
Oh
So,
yeah, and the pollution.
But if it's safe, why is it that it's okay to have these facilities placed in our neighborhoods, in our areas, and not next to the affluent places?
Mm-hmm.
If we're all Americans, we're supposed to be all equal.
Yeah, right. That garbage in the Declaration of Independence. All men are created equal. That trash.
Mm-hmm. So that's the thing.
Word up. Thank you for telling me about the Puerto Rico thing. I need to learn. I need to learn more about that whole struggle of the island and their struggle for independence and stuff like that.
Yeah. And even that, the political system there is fucked up too. For the same thing. It's like when you have a poor island, and then you have a handful of politicians.
Mm-hmm.
Once they get money in their hands, they're gonna fuck over, just like this country, fuck over the people, because their greed sets in, stuff like that. That's politics in general. It's greed.
No, that's ruling class politics in general. We have the ruling class trying to control the people. That's not all politics, because the politics that I'm about is about the people, and it's about giving the things that the people need, and having the people's interests at heart. So that's different.
That's just rare and few and far between, because what major country actually has your years?
Well, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's
a whole nother conversation. But we can talk about that later too.
There's personal politics. There's personal politics of how we want things to go, and then there's ruling class. Like I say, we're not going to find a large nation that's functioning that really, really gets it, to our.
We can definitely talk about that later.
Yeah.
But is there anything else that you want to? I think we covered everything, and we made a lot of other connections between a lot of other subjects and things that are relatively close. Yeah, there's a lot of intertwining stuff that I like. You know, that's what I think real politics is about, seeing how all these things affect each other and how all these things are connected. And we did that. We did all that today. So I'm really happy with this interview. Is there anything else you want to add?
No. I mean, hopefully this opens up people's eyes, perspective-wise, and
Hell yeah.
gives people an inside glimpse of certain things. And
Definitely. Especially how, you know, a lot of people think it's all good here in Montclair, you know, this affluent. You know, we haven't talked, maybe we could talk about that for a little while, how, you know, how rich Montclair is. You have these $1 million homes, but you still have this basic racism that you dealt with on Bloomfield Avenue.
And I didn't even see it right away. Either. When it comes to Montclair, at first I thought it was all great. You know, the church has the rainbow flag on. You know, I thought everything was gravy, everything was perfect. And then I started seeing shit like, wait a minute.
Like what?
You know, just like I said, just like walking down the street, and then I'm being followed, and cop car swings around, stops me, asks me, like, don't go anywhere. Right? Next thing you know, 3 cops pop out of nowhere, cornering me on the sidewalk. I've never seen anybody else, any white dude or anybody else.
You've never seen a white dude having a no white dude nowhere
or
in this fucking country.
You know, in Montclair, I'm thinking, okay, this is a safe spot. Okay, finally, I'm thinking, going through bullshit and work, I finally get here. A little more better. I can relax and breathe. Out of all people, I get stopped. Or there's been times where I walked around, I've seen them stop and look. You know, I'm thinking, wait, why is it? Because I look different? Or,
I wonder.
It's weird because I'm thinking this is a progressive ass town. And it's like the Democratic Party. They give you the illusion that they're like an ally, but the policy, you got to go by their actions, not their words.
That's right.
Because their words is rhetoric. Actions are what matters. That's what shows you what they're about. You know, the Bidens, the Clintons, all these people. Those are all people that they'll whisper sweet nothings in your ear. They're not following through. They never deliver.
They never deliver because they never plan to, and that's not what they're here for.
Once they get that vote, they forget everything.
Because they do not have your interests at heart, as we keep saying.
That's pretty much it.
Good shit. All right, homie. Thank you so much for this, bro. We got about almost an hour and 40 minutes, bro. This is mad dope. And I'm gonna try and do more like this. And if you know, if you know anybody else who has any experiences like this, you could shoot them my way, and we shed more light on this and get more people's perspectives and stuff as far as this.
Sounds good.